Yeah, it ought to be between just the three classy horses, if you like. But I think this ground is probably a little bit easier than we've seen it in past years. Might be a lot harder work for some of them, but I suppose Garde, Champetre, even with 11 stone, it's going to be difficult to beat, isn't he?
I'll have to be with you, John. He's four times win around here.
So away they go, 32 to jump in the Glenfarclas cross-country chase, and jumping the first of those, heads on the ground, the early leader from Soleil Fix, and Garde Champetre is being restrained close up, then sizing Australia towards the outside, the near side, in the yellow sleeves with the red cap, racing steadily in these early stages. The grey is Rimsky, and on towards the second, heads on the ground leading the way. And they will land safely with one of the check horses, Lorraine, at the back in these very early stages. Heads on the ground, Silver Birch now coming through, the 2007 Grand National winner, to take this in second place with Garde Champetre, then sizing Australia, and gone there, Lorraine unseats his rider, Jaromir Rudka, and they suffered a similar fate in the Pardubika, Lorraine failing to get round about a month ago. Heads on the ground. This is the Aintree fence, taken at an angle, sharp left-hand turn, rather like the canal turn at Aintree, turning sharply after that on the landing side, and now heading across the centre of the racecourse. Heads on the ground, takes the next from sizing Australia, Mr. Big, then Silver Birch, Garde Champetre and Rimsky, Garde further back, then Soleil Fix, Marath, the other Czech runner, followed by Open Eyed, and Lights Out for Sweden at the back of the field with Open Eyed. About to cross the racecourse proper with just the 25 to jump now. They take the next, this double bank. And in the white cap, heads on the ground, and JT McNamara, of course, will always be associated with the regular winner around here, Spot the Difference. And it's heads on the ground from Mr. Big and Rimsky and sizing Australia on the near side, followed by Soleil Fix and Silver Birch in the light blue sleeves on the near side in the noseband. Garde Champetre close up, pretty steady early pace. Marath behind these, then Carzadei, followed by Open Eyed and Lights Out at the back of the field. Biggish Hedge now, heads on the ground, leads over it. Still on their first circuit, and broadly speaking, the course is 3 laps of diminishing size. This is the biggest lap. The final lap just pretty short, really, measuring about 8 or 9 fences. Downhill slightly to another Biggish Hedge here. Heads on the ground over from sizing Australia. Mr. Big in the red jacket, the grey Rimsky, Silver Birch, the evergreen Silver Birch on the outside. Then Garde Champetre, followed by Marath, Soleil Fix, the royal blue jacket over on the inside, over the next, all safely over that. And they continue now with 20 left to jump, and buck across the middle of the racecourse towards the bank, which they take twice in different directions. See how they handle this. And Dennis Persson, the Swedish trainer, a little bit concerned about the bank, but Lights Out seem to handle it okay. This is the water jump coming up. It's a popular vantage point here for the public. Rimsky jumped it rather big, but otherwise they were okay, and coming towards the end of their first lap with the cheese wedges fence ahead of them. A quick double here, up one side, down the side of the other part of the double. Heads on the ground, sizing Australia, 1 and 2, Mr. Big, Silver Birch, Casadei, Rimsky, then Garde Champetre as they race in front of the stands. Then Marath and Soleil Fix and Open Eyed, and Lights Out still at the back of the field. So round on their second circuit now, back towards the next. The halfway stage in terms of number of fences over this ditch, and all landing safely. Garde Champetre at the moment in about 7th place, no hurry. Nina Carberry usually delivers him with a pretty late run as they now cross the centre of the course and head back towards the bank, taken in a different direction this time. Heads on the ground is going to be the first up from sizing Australia and Mr. Big, clearing the bank, and a little bit untidy on landing was Marath at the rear of the field, but otherwise all okay as they continue on this long journey, 3 miles and 7 furlongs in all. In truth, the race only really begins to evolve over the last circuit when the pace is turned on. Much of these early stages all about negotiating the obstacles. Heads on the ground. A past winner around here has made most of the running so far. Mr. Big in second in the red jacket, Noel Feely. Mr. Big, who ran over in the Velka Pardubika. On the near side, Sizing Australia. Rimsky is close up, a bit hesitant at some of the fences. Rimsky, followed by Silver Birch, then Garde, Champetre and Soleil fixed together, Kazadeh and Marath. And now on towards the next, swinging right-handed and racing towards this hedge. A bit of a drop on the landing side on this one. A bold jump there from Heads on the Ground. Took it beautifully, and we've lost one out the back, and it's Kazadeh has gone there. Kazadeh and Davy Condon. As meanwhile they swing right-handed back towards the water jump. Horse and rider up on their feet all right, no damage done. Still Heads on the Ground and JT McNamara from Sizing Australia and Mr. Big and Rimsky between the pair as they clear the water for the second time. Silver Birch is close up, so too Garde, Champetre. They're going to be really dangerous as they race around the final circuit. Open Eyed follows these, followed then by Soleil Fix and then Marath, and Lights Out right at the back of the field. The Swedish runner, the former Swedish Grand National winner, and about to go into uncharted territory. His stamina far from assured as they race in front of the stands once again, and they'll shortly be running away over the next 3 fences up towards the Aintree fence. A sharp left-hander, another 3 across the centre of the track, and they finish with 2 hurdle jumps on the racecourse proper. It's about to build up now. Heads on the Ground, Mr. Big. Sizing Australia, Rimsky, Silver Birch and Garde, Champetre just in the picture there, hunting them up in the hands of Nina Carberry. 3 or 4 lengths away, Open Eyed from Soleil Fix as they continue slightly uphill at this point, and back in the field Lights Out and Marath, the other Czech runner, with Lorraine out of the race. Marath is now the back marker. They approach Aintree now with 6 left to jump. Heads on the Ground has made it all so far. Mr. Big on the left, the red jacket. Sizing Australia, a test of horsemanship here because they're going to jump this at the angle. Many lengths can be saved. Silver Birch right round the inside. Got a bit tight between Sizing Australia and Rimsky there, and there was a bit of a blunder from Garde, Champetre in about 6th or 7th place. Downhill across the centre. Heads on the Ground, Mr. Big. Then Sizing Australia. Silver Birch over on the right in the light blue sleeves. Garde, Champetre travelling well again in behind them in 5th. Then the grey Rimsky as they jump the 3rd last. Still Heads on the Ground from Sizing Australia. Mr. Big, they're going to now make their way onto the racecourse proper with 2 left to jump. Garde, Champetre goes up on the outside now and is closing with every stride as stable companion Heads on the Ground is challenged by Sizing Australia over 2 out. Garde, Champetre and Mr. Big giving chase. Silver Birch looks a bit outpaced now, back in 5th place, and then a gap to Rimsky. They're about to swing the corner. Heads on the Ground, Sizing Australia, but Garde, Champetre and Nina Carberry are now bearing down on them. The class horse in the race comes to join the action and approaches the final flight with a lead, a narrow lead over Heads on the Ground. Then in 3rd is Sizing Australia. Mr. Big back in 4th, and Garde, Champetre in front again here at Cheltenham, idling a little in front, only by 2 lengths to Heads on the Ground and Sizing Australia, but he's doing enough and he's going to continue his remarkable record on the cross-country course, and Garde, Champetre wins the Glenfarclas cross-country chase. Pretty tight for second between Sizing Australia and Heads on the Ground. Then Mr. Big and Open Eyed, Silver Birch, Rimsky, and a long gap to Soleil Fix, Marath and Lights Out, very well beaten in the end. Well, there was just one slightly anxious moment. Garde, Champetre seemed to make a bit of a blunder at the Aintree fence for the final time, but was quickly back in rhythm in the hands of Nina Carberry, and in truth he looked to have the leaders covered from the second last, moving well, and just got a bit idle on the run-in. Probably doesn't want to hit the front too soon, but it was another beautifully judged ride.
Nina, that must have been some buzz. You must love this horse because you've got such a great relationship with him.
He's a little dinger. No, he's great. He loves it around here. He loves flicking through the little hedges there, and he comes alive underneath me when he does it, you know.
These cross-country fences as well. You yourself has got a fabulous record.
Yeah, no, I think it's all to do with this fella, really. He's such a good horse. Like, you know, he has the rating to be a very good chaser, but I'd say he just prefers these fences.
I mean, I basically followed him throughout. He could nearly go round with his eyes shut, except at the entry about 5 out.
Yeah, I would just slip going into it a little bit and I just put him off. And he was very good now to get over it, you know, to do, find a leg. He just slipped going into it, a little bit slippy, but got over it anyway, thank God.
Well done, get your breath back and enjoy it.
Thanks.
You can only just stand back, admire and applaud Nina Carberry and Garde Champetre, and that's what many of the supporters did. For 10 times she's teamed up with Garde Champetre, 7 times she has won. Today the SP was a winning SP of 4-6 favourite. Second, number 8, Heads on the Ground at 18-1. The third horse, number 12, Sizing Australia at 8-1. However, Tom, there's some amazing in running price for Garde Champetre.
Just down the far side, 6 out. He dragged his hind legs through that big ditch, and it just looked for a couple of moments as if he might be in trouble. 4-1 was the price match for a couple £100 on Betfair in running. He soon redeemed that, and 4-6 indeed he returned. Incredible, the redoubtable Garde Champetre.